Well, good morning to everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Satsang. Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, beloved Swamiji, we bow to you again and again. Divine Mother, we thank you for the privilege of serving thee. Bless us always, that we remain in tune. Fill us with your joy, your unconditional divine love, that we might share these blessings with all whom cross our path, with the entire world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varuniya Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varuniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Om Tatsavitu Varniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayatu Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Triambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivaranam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityo Mokshiyam Amritat Swaha Om Swaha Om Swaha Om Swaha Om Shanti Shanti. Let's begin with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, Beloved Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, Saints of all religions, Beloved Swamiji, we humbly bow to you all. Divine Mother, bless this satsang with your joyous presence. Chant through us, meditate through us, serve through us. We are your children.
bring us home to thee. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai. Paramahansa Yogananda, 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 Jai Guru, Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I am the Baba, make me the sea, Lord. I am the Baba, make me the sea, make me the sea, oh, make me the sea, make me the sea, oh, make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the Baba, make me the sea. Lord, I am the Baba, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord, so do thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart, thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the Baba, make me the sea. Lord, I am the Baba, make me the sea. Make me the sea. Make me the sea, make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the Ba, who make me the sea. Lord, I am the Ba, who make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord. So do thou, my Lord, thou and I never apart, thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Oh, I am the Baba, make me the sea. Lord, I am the Baba, make me the sea. I am the Baba, make me the sea. Lord, I am the Baba.
Now let's meditate together. The affirmation for today, from Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Kriyananda, is on service. Service is ennobling. It is a way of offering our human littleness into the great reality that is God. Service should not be given with the thought that one is serving people merely. It should be given with an inward consciousness to the Lord who resides in all creatures. When we serve others in this spirit, we find our own spirits becoming freed from egotism. Peace then fills us in the realization that there isn't anyone with whom we need compete. What joy to think that we belong to God. Please affirm with me with a lot of energy at the point between the eyebrows. Out loud. I will serve God through others. And by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. A little more quietly with deep concentration. I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. And now in a whisper, I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. And now silently, at the spiritual eye, I will serve God through others, and by my service to Him, release the hold the ego has on me. I am free in God. In God, I am free. I am free in God. In God, I am free. Please pray with me. All that I do, Divine Mother, I do for love of Thee. Accept the flowers of my service to Thee as I place them on Thy altar of omnipresence. Om Shanti Shanti.
Once again, good morning to everyone. We'll begin our Sunday Satsang by reading from Whisperers from Eternity by Paramahansa Ananda, entitled, Demand not to be enslaved by the ego or by ego-centered passivity. I want to use my own will, but guided ever, Father, toward the golden paradise of all fulfillment. For I would be infinity's smiling child, confident of being imprisoned no longer behind bars of fruitless desires and withered hopes. I would break the shameful cords of lethargy that have presumed to hold me, and to step fearlessly into freedom. Released, I now blaze my way through forests of every limitation and delusion. Oh, my little vain ego may strut proudly, saying, behold my glory, worship me. But I will look through its transparent form and behold thy unimaginable beauty, clothed in the subtle form of the whole universe. The silent tuned hearing of my soul will ignore that tiny boasting masquerader, my little self impersonating thee, and will listen rapturously to the wind-born, fragrant music of thine own matchless voice, whispering across the ages, I am He. Years ago, I came upon Nayaswami Nitai, and he was doing something in this chicken coop. And I just didn't know quite what it was, so I was curious, and I said, hi, Nitai, what are you doing? And he said, I'm starting a school. And I said, you're starting in that? And he said, yeah, it's going to be great. And so I thought, okay, here we go. And of course, to this day, not only do we have a wonderful school at Ananda Village in California, but now various schools in different parts of the world. And then I remember too, around that time, we had an old farmhouse there, been there for 100 years. And this is, again, at Ananda Village. And so I was there using the telephone. There was only one telephone at the time. And so I was done with my call, and I glanced around the corner to a little closet, and I saw Nayaswami Parvati there. And I said, Parvati, what's this? It was, from my memory, a box of grapefruit in this little closet and a box of raisins. And she said, oh, I'm starting a store. and again, just as I, laughed when Nitai told me what he's doing, I laughed again. I said, Parvati, what? You're starting a store with a box of raisins and a box of grapefruit? She says, yeah, it's going to be great. And to this day, we have a wonderful, what we call Master's Market there in the heart of Ananda Village. And so what were we doing with all of this starting from scratch? Well, we all know, because we've all had experience in so many ways. And drawing from Master, his first ashram in Massachusetts was very, very humble. And there's a beautiful picture of him standing there by a modest little pond, standing on top, I should say, of the building itself, a small little building. And that was the beginning of his work that spread, of course, throughout the world. And in India, before he left for America, again, he very humble beginnings in starting his school before it was moved then to Ranchi. And so for us, it seems to always repeat itself at Ananda, even after so many, many decades of working on so many, many, many fronts. When Roma and I first came to Bangalore, Swamiji had asked us to come. This was in 2012. And so we've had, starting in Koramangala, we've had 4 locations in 9 years. And the joke, as Master said, Divine Mother has a good sense of humor. Well, the joke is on me because being a Virgo, I like to be in one place. And though I found at Ananda, one time I had counted after I'd been there many years, I had moved 17 different times. I thought, what is this? Well, no doubt we have our lessons to learn. For me, perhaps flexibility, who's to say. And so we started there in Koramangala. And Nayaswami Devi was just sharing with Roma the other day, now that we are about ready to move yet again to a lovely center in the country. She said, oh my goodness, I remember that in the beginning in Koramangala, what you had to greet people was a dog. And he was a ferocious dog. He was the neighbor's dog. We were upstairs, they were downstairs. And the dog's name was Caesar, and it was the perfect name for him, just a ferocious dog. He had a good heart, but a lot of people would come up first time to the center, and they would say, is that dog gonna stay? Because it was a small little fence. Is that dog gonna be able to stay behind the fence? And I said, oh yeah, Caesar's friendly, he just looks ferocious. And so, of course, we continue to move along. And I guess, again, another joke on us was that every move, starting from Koramangala, there would be a building right next door that would be torn down and a new building coming up. It happened again in Jayanagar. In Jayanagar, it was even more dramatic because they called that house, a little one-story right next to our center, a haunted house. It had been there for 20 years. But as soon as we arrived, the fellow, wonderful fellow, decided that he wanted now to build what I like to say was a high-rise, a big 3-4-story building. And then when we moved from Jayanagar to JP Nagar, we noticed that the neighbors were constructing something, and there was a big hole in the wall of their existing 2-story house. And someone said, oh, looks like they are doing some renovation. And I said, I don't think so. That hole's too big. And sure enough, another skyscraper. But each time, as I shared with Anjali, I said it's been fascinating because each time when we have this unprecedented house, skyscraper building right before our center, we move to another location that is an improvement. And so here we are now, moving to the country. And the vision really, from the very beginning, 9 years ago, was to have some large place for everyone, where people could come and go as they pleased, with some acreage, whatever it might be. We didn't have anything specific in mind, but it was just that thought. It was not like we had a vision of the place, but it was just that thought of something that would be in the country and quiet, where so many people could come. And so that what has finally come. And it takes, again, a certain amount of stick-to-itiveness and all of that. We know that. Willingness, all the various things in order to continue to push forward. And so as it worked out last Monday, all of you were there in spirit, but we didn't want to overwhelm our landlords. It's about 20 minutes or so from the center, out in the country, off of Kanakpur Road. It was Monday, and who could break away on Monday? We didn't know, but that was the only time we could see it, because that's when the tenants that are there presently were able to have a little time on their day off. And so in we came. As it turned out, Roma and I were surprised about 15 people showed. And so the landlord's disciples of Ramana Maharshi, near and dear to us, Master had met him in the mid-30s, a wonderful and highly advanced soul. We arrived, and next thing we knew, we were touring around. Satya and his wife were giving us this wonderful tour, and at one point, a lot of people brought food, and it was just so natural. It was just like coming home, and we felt that everyone that was there, again, you were all there with us in spirit, and as soon as we can, of course, we will be inviting everyone to come and visit. But at this point, again, the tenants may be there for a little bit of time as they take their next step. And so I said to Satya, I said to him, I said, if you'd like, Roma had made the rounds, and everybody was very, very happy with it's fine, sweet, with the place. As you'll see it, and perhaps many of you have seen it in photos, it really is very special. It has a lovely vibration on 1.5 acres of land. It's quiet. It's got so much going for it. So I went up to Satya, and I wanted to be considerate, of course, of his time. And I said, well, Satya, seems like it would be a good idea to sit down and talk about details. And he said, well, why not now? And I was a bit surprised. And so I said to Roma, looks like they want to meet now. And I glanced over, and we spotted Harish, who is so integral in helping us with so many things, as so many of you are in the center. And so we invited him to the meeting. And the meeting really was like a satsang. Yes, we went over the various details and so forth, obviously. But it was so sweet because it was devotees. It was Master's disciples, all of us, with disciples of Ramana Maharshi, all meeting. And I couldn't help but think when we were just seeing the pictures that we had heard that they were disciples of Lahiri Mahashaya. I was thinking that Master Lahiri Mahashaya, of course, we know behind the scenes what's happening with these great ones. They were talking together and saying, well, what do you think coming to this ashram and so forth? And again, it's very, very sweet to think of what the great ones are doing to move us along, to help us to make our next step. And so for us, really, as we know as devotees, the things that we do in this tangible world, they're important because people already have shared with us that, oh my goodness, this is going to be wonderful. The outer ring road will connect people, so it won't be difficult to get there for so many. The metro is due soon, all of those things. So that's always a big issue in the big cities like Bangalore. On and on it goes. So many things are coming together. And we're continuing to look for land because, as Master said, when he was, and Swami, of course, too, so often urging people to buy land in the country. I was joking with someone, I don't remember him saying, pool your resources and rent land in the country. It was pool your resources and buy land. And so yet we felt that this is the next step. And we were getting feedback from a few people. This is the next step, rent a place. And then from there, then we can expand on and see about land. And we could get land tomorrow, or it could be some months from now. We don't know. But that way we can have a place that is our own. And we'll have both of these wonderful properties if Divine Mother allows. And so really, for us, the amazing thing about being a part of this spiritual family is that as we grow together, I was saying to Nayaswami Jaya, we were talking to them a few days back, and I said, Ananda is like a geodesic dome. And as I've heard described by others that know the workings of the dome, if one portion of the dome moves, eventually the next portion of the dome moves. And so Ananda, and now especially through internet, we're so closely connected more than ever before. Someone gets a bookstore in some colony, perhaps in some center, and then someone says, "Oh, that's a good idea," and then they start a center. And in Pune, they have now an apartment building where a bunch of people moved in. In Mumbai, they have property where people can come. The monks, of course, have bought property. We move together in this way. Sometimes I just, think that we're just a bunch of ducks following our leader as we move together in a way that is helping us to grow in tune from within, because it's an inside job. And so as we take part in these various projects, of course, embracing Nishkam Karma, we're doing this for God. We find too that at the same time, we're growing spiritually. Swamiji, before he found Master, this was again back in the late 40s, he was only a young man of 22. And his father, as he's described in his autobiography, The Path, was a highly successful executive working in a large company. And he wasn't interested in any of those things, nothing to do with money. He wanted to just be a hermit. And what was his surprise many, many years later in the late 60s, when he, taking on Master's dream of starting, which turned out to be the first World Brotherhood colony, as Yogananda described, spiritual community in California. He had to raise the money. He had to put out all this energy. And he said to us that when he was in college, he would just sit, with the artists and perhaps the musicians and those that were in the literary club. He wouldn't sit by all those that were working on their MBAs and so forth. That's where he was coming from. And yet he found, much to his surprise, that he was growing spiritually as he worked on this project where he had to raise the funds to buy the land. And really, he did it pretty much single-handedly. Luckily, Nayaswami Jyotish came in the early years, and he knocked at the door and went into Swami's apartment, which was in San Francisco at the time. And Swami put him to work. They were doing a mailing party. Jyotish said, can I help? Swami said, yes. And of course, he's been serving for all of these years with his wife, Devi. And it's been very, very inspiring. Again, humble beginnings. Sure, come on in, help with the mailing party. And now, of course, they're the spiritual directors of Ananda International. And so here was Nitai, starting in the chicken coop. And I knew this chicken coop well because the year before I had lived in it myself. There wasn't any housing in those days. You slept, pretty much under a tree most of the time. So I was happy to be in that chicken coop. And then I moved on, and Nitai took a look at it and said, this looks good. And he ended up having 6 children there. And I would peep in from time to time, and he would be reading stories, to the kids and involving them in various activities. And I thought, isn't this sweet? Here they are in this little space, and they're so happy. And so for us, we want to keep, as we did when we first arrived, and I'm sure many other people too had the thought of, what is the next step? Because at Ananda, we're always asking, what's trying to happen here? What is the next step? What does Master want? And it's really a matter of growing our intuition. And that, of course, is the fruit of meditation. When Nitai started the school and asked Swami for direction, Swami was, again, just saying, well, figure it out. That was the teachings of Master. Master said, I really prefer teaching through a glance. And in that way, then people could go inside and learn, figure it out. And that's what Ananda has been doing all these years, is what we've been doing here in Bangalore. Figure it out. Swami said that in building Ananda, this was the way, and it continues to be the way, where you're just trying to get a sense of what do the masters want and what should we do next. When Nayaswami Jaya and Sadhana Devi were serving on the East Coast, of course, Jaya went to Swami and said, well, could you give us some direction? And Swami said very, very simply, look for opportunity and act on it. And I thought, wow, that is the sage counsel that all of us in our own lives, in whatever we're doing, at home, at work, in building spiritual community, and all that we're doing, we're looking for opportunity and then we're acting on it. And so the amazing thing about the spiritual path is that the outer helps the inner and the inner helps the outer. And there's this wonderful dynamic. And so that's why Swami said early on, say yes to life. And many, many times we don't know what we're doing, but it feels like it's the right thing to do. And we hope for the best. And so we move forward with faith and also with humility that if it's time now to perhaps move in another direction, then that's fine, because we're not attached. We're doing it for God. We're doing it for Guru. When we embarked on this latest project, moving to the country and all of this, then we thought, and this was, something that many of us talked about so sweetly. This isn't for us. This is for people. Of course it's for us, but beyond that, this is for people that we may never see 10 years from now. Who's to say that we'll come and feel the vibration, as we say at Ananda, and it's absolutely true. 40 miles, I've tested this many times, 40 miles before you get to Ananda village, you can feel the vibration, you can feel the magnetism tugging at you. And how many people too have come to the center and felt this wonderful vibration. We were very fortunate here in JP Nagar, as it was true also in the previous center. There was a wonderful vibration here already that we could build on. And so now we have this wonderful new center retreat, and the vibration is already strong. As Satya's wife said, as we were having our little meeting, satsang, she said, many people have remarked what a wonderful vibration is here. And we said, yes, absolutely. We feel it. It is strong. And it's not just that it's the country, because you can go to various beautiful spots, very scenic, and not feel anything at all. Always when there is that vibration that one feels. And of course, India, with so many places of pilgrimage, there are these deep, deep vibrations. As I like to say, some of these temples, they meditate for you. Before you even sit down, you're already feeling the lifting of vibration in the expansion of consciousness. And so for us, all we're trying to do is to share. It's the nature of bliss, as Swamiji pointed out, to share. And so as we embark on these various projects, none of us are wizards. We are just doing as good as we can. And so would we have liked to have had this facility when we first arrived? Sure, that would have been fine. But really, the way that Ananda has grown over the years, what comes of going step by step, climbing up the rungs of the ladder, is each experience is appreciated. It's like being in school. When I was in school, I wanted to marry my first grade teacher. And, I was 6 and she was probably 35 or 40. And I said, I want to marry you, wait for me. She says, I'll wait. Anyway, what am I saying? That every, part of the journey, when I was in first grade, that was special. When I was in second grade, I was very appreciative that I had learned some things in first grade that was now getting me equipped for second grade. And so all these various stages that Ananda has gone through. Parvati at the market with her box of raisins and grapefruit, she knew it wasn't going to be that ultimately. It was going to grow, and it did. Nitai knew he wasn't going to be in a chicken coop with 6 kids. It was going to grow, and it did. And so we are very much looking forward to, again, we have to respect that the tenants are going to take a little bit of time to move, in a month or two, whatever it might be. But at one point, hopefully sooner than later, we'll be able to go over there and show all of you the beautiful gift, because that certainly is what it is, the beautiful gift that we have been given, and that we will be able to enjoy for perhaps many years. And so, again, God bless you. Keep your prayers going, as we, again, embark on this special project, and continue to pray again that this next step will help many people, because we really feel it well. Okay, now we'll have our Aarti.
I'm going to say something.
Oh, okay, good. Here, Roma is going to speak.
Welcome everyone to our Sunday Satsang. I just wanted to mention that this following weekend we are having another Kriya initiation, and the initiation, we're going to have some 30 new souls joining our spiritual family, Master's family, on Saturday. And as I was meditating on these souls, when Master came to America, his goal was not necessarily to build a monastery or have buildings or create anything outward. These things will all pass away. All of the world, material world will pass away. But his goal was to have people find God. And he gave us this remarkable teaching of Babaji's and Lahiri and Sri Yukteswar of Kriya Yoga. And the real work and the real foundation that is keeping everything at Ananda and all spiritual paths going is people's love for God. And in our particular case, we have a technique to practice that will bring ecstasy and freedom from this world. And so when we practice Kriya deeply and when we meditate, we touch that part of us that is connected to Divine Mother. And that is what is motivating us on every single level of our being during this incarnation and all of our incarnations. So Ananda is filled with souls who love God, who want that freedom, who are practicing Kriya, who are serving this work with the love of their hearts because they love their Guru. And the Guru is guiding us. And to the extent that we can go deep into our sadhana, deep into our Kriya practice, deep into these teachings, holding on to the Guru's hand all the way through every experience in life, everything will be just as it should be. And all the anxiety and all the worry and all the frustration of this world, this will pass away. And it will try to rear its head during all of our endeavors to serve Master. But these things are minor compared to the love of God that we have in our hearts and to the love that the Guru has for us. So it's really important as we move forward on this spiritual path together to be in tune with these teachings, to support one another, to love one another, to guide those that are just coming onto the path, like these new Kriyabans that are taking Kriya for the first time this week. And it's a wonderful thing. This week, it would be important, if you can, to attend the Kriya. Those Kriyabans who have taken Kriya, to attend the Kriya on Saturday. But during this week, have a more inward experience of Master. Meditate longer. Chant with more devotion and longer. Read spiritual books this week. Read Master's autobiography. Read The Essence. Just try to listen to Master's talks and Swami's talks. Try to listen to Swami's music. Just this week, sort of be on retreat. I know that for me, the days leading up to Kriya have always been important, so that when Kriya happens, every single Kriya initiation, I feel open and receptive just to receive that grace from Master. We should be open during these Kriya initiations because there's a lot of spiritual power that comes through. There's a lot of Master's vibrations and Babaji and all of the gurus and Divine Mother. So don't get caught up in your work so much this week. Get caught up more on being on retreat. And remember that the reason we're here is to find God. That's the only point of our existence. That's the only point. And if you have a very busy schedule, and if you can't be on retreat every day, 8 hours a day, of course, none of us can because we're so busy, but have an hour a day of being on retreat, doing something spiritual, writing in your journal. And pray for the new Kriyabans. Pray for people that are taking Kriya for the first time because they are entering onto this spiritual path with open hearts, and they will feel that support in their meditations and in their service. They will feel that love from their Guru Bhais. And this is what they have chosen, and they have said, I do, I will be on this path with all of you. And Master's blessing all of us very much during this time. As Haridas was telling the story of the different steps that we've taken together on this path, just in Bangalore alone, these same steps are being taken all over the world with Guru Bhais all over the world. And everybody's moving forward in their own way. And every way is precious. And every way is beautiful. And so we must remember the reason why we're moving forward. And we are moving forward, but we're moving within and then up. We're not just building something outwardly, because those things go. One time I was in Rome with Swami, we were on pilgrimage, and one of my dear Guru Bhais, Ram, took us to the Colosseum and these Roman ruins. And the Colosseum, there they were, these magnificent structures to that time in history, strong and huge and magnificent, but they were crumbling over the centuries. All that materialism and all that effort and all the money and all the energy that went into building those edifices, they were crumbling. And then he took us to this beautiful little church that was built into the rocks, very close to the Colosseum, but you could hardly see the church. It was just a tiny, tiny church where the early Christians used to go and pray and meditate. And we went in there, and I just felt so much joy, just so much bliss when I went in that tiny little, not a big edifice. It was just filled with joy. And I just could feel the vibration of those early Christians, just living for God and following their guru's teachings and feeling the bliss of Christ, their guru, and really for the first time going within and feeling the joy of serving God and Guru. It was quite beautiful. And so there was the Colosseum crumbling, and there was this teeny, teeny little church filled with people that loved God. And I sort of felt like that's the vibration of Ananda. We have beautiful buildings, but those buildings will go someday. But the love for God in the Guru Bhais' hearts will never die. It will only grow, and it will last incarnation after incarnation after incarnation, and it will help people that come to our little places of worship will feel it if we are sincerely loving God in our sadhana, if we are sincerely serving God with joy, with true joy and willingness and bliss. Like Haridas was saying, say yes to life. That's what stays, that bliss. And that will magnetize more souls and more souls and more souls over the years. So that's what we're really building here in Bangalore, at Ananda, on this earth right now during this dark time where everything's crumbling. Master and Divine Mother and the gurus and the light and unconditional love is rising. And it will always stay there because that is omnipresent. That is what we are becoming. Our little souls are melting into God. Our egos are receding. And we are getting rid of that thought of me and mine and the ego. Getting rid of that separation. And we're melting into God. And that's our real responsibility. And that's what we're really building. So I just wanted to just mention about the Kriya that's happening and really open your heart. And we'll be on Zoom, of course. And one of these days we'll have a real Kriya in person in our new retreat center. So God bless you all this week, and we'll see you on Saturday. And for those of you who aren't taking Kriya, just pray for those who are, and treasure the classes that you're taking, the level 1, the level 2, the level 3, becoming disciples. It's all leading to the same goal. Everything is leading to the same goal. So God bless you all. And now we'll have our Aarti.
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
And now we'd like to offer a blessing from the gurus. And as you receive the blessing, offer a prayer of gratitude to the infinite Christ, in whose love our line of masters have descended, that we might all come to God. Pray too for the grace to share with all as you have received, for you are a part of all that is. May the light of the great master shine upon you. Now let's close with a healing prayer and include all those on our healing prayer list, all those souls in need that we know of, that are close to us, and those we don't know, who are in need of healing energy in their bodies, their minds, their souls. And include everything that grows on the planet, all of God's creation, all of the animals, the fauna, the waters, the ocean, the air, everything filled with Divine Mother's healing light. And from our hearts, let's pray together. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Thou art in us. Thou art in this world. Thou art in all souls. Manifest thy healing presence in their bodies, minds, and souls.